Custom Show. Here you can vote for your favourite vehicles of the week or register your customised ride to the competition to get rewards based on your ranking. where we left off. Hawaiian born and raised, he knows these lands like the back of his hand. He loves sharing the culture, history and beauty of Hawaii. First journey to the east, between seafronts, mind-blowing mountains and wild waterfalls. driver. How's the race going on this brand new Motorfest circuit? A bit intense, isn't it? But no pressure. The key word here is exploration. You don't have to win to move on to the next race. Enjoy the ride. Victory's just a bonus here. And while we're here, let's start with a guided tour of the Motorfest grounds. Everywhere on this track, you will feel the Hawaiian connection to elements. Look at these sharks. They mark the entrance to the water area. You can see the sand playground on the left for you to practice your off-road skills whenever you want. Vibrant like Earth, here comes the concert zone. This area is all about getting together and enjoying some great music. You know this volcano? It's the car meet. Social hub, custom shows, main stage stuffs. You already got the drill, right? Birds up there are a tribute to the last element, air. This is also where you'll find the drift track, first arena of the Drift Experience playlist. I still think this was a little intense for this playlist. Why don't we start the real Hawaii Scenic Tour with a more relaxed journey around this amazing island? You'll get a real guide this time, I promise.
Started and I was like half an hour into that, like just going up the hill, guys. Like,
let's meet Keola. Hawaiian born and raised, he knows these lands like the back of his hand. He loves sharing the culture, history and beauty of Hawaii.
6 seconds.
First journey to the east, between seafronts, mind-blowing mountains and wild waterfalls.
really going up the mountain, and I was like, when is the finish coming? Or like, when is the end of this hill? And he's like, oh man, you're not even halfway through. And I'm like, how is this possible? But it's hard to do, right?
Resuming progression on the playlist.
What's happening, guys and girls? My name is Becky Evans and welcome to Motorfest, the podcast. Brought to you by Red Bull and Oversoft's iconic game, The Crew Motorfest. Now, this is the podcast where I get to chat to some of the world's finest motorsport athletes and dig into their passion for all things speed, wings and wheels. And if you haven't already tried it, you can actually listen to the podcast whilst you're playing the game. Today, I'm going to be chatting with the professional motorcycle rider, Manuel Lettenbichler. He's one of the very best in the world and he's an absolute champion. Born and raised in southern Germany, where he's currently based, Manny has been competing for Red Bull Racing Factory since 2016, following in the footsteps of his father, Andreas Lettenbichler, who was a highly successful KTM racing athlete who was top 3 in the world. Manny got his first trial bike aged 5, and at age 16, he was the youngest rider to ever complete the Red Bull Scramble Hare race, which is a one-day race which is actually the most difficult in the world. He was Super Enduro Junior Champion in 2016, and since then, he has brought home the Hard Enduro Championship 4 times. If you don't know what hard enduro is, this is a sport where you actually tackle the most extreme terrain. We're talking rocks, we're talking mountains, we're talking off-road in its most extreme version. In 2023, Manny made history by completing the first perfect season in the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship. Now, this is a feat that's only been completed by Manny and Max Verstappen in motorsport history today. So is it luck, talent, or is it a bit of both? Let's find out. Manny, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Stoked to be here.
So whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Just in Salzburg right now in Austria. I'm actually spending a bit of time now in the Athlete Performance Center of Red Bull because I torn one ligament at the second last round of the World Championship and trying to keep myself busy with something else than riding, let's say it like this way.
It's been a while since I've seen you. I think the last time was, Goodwood in about 2018?
Yes, Goodwood. 2018, I think. It's been actually a while. I wanted always to come back again because it's such a cool motorsport festival and there's so much stuff going on. And it's been a while when we met for sure. But stoked to see you again and talk hopefully about some cool stuff.
Let's jump right in. If you could be a car, a plane, a boat, or a motorbike, which would you be and why?
I think like a plane probably, but like a cool plane, you know, maybe like a fighter plane or like a stunt plane could be pretty sick. I was like doing one flight one time with Red Bull, like in a stunt plane, and it was so cool. Like it was probably one of the best experiences I ever had. Because we just went like doing loopings, like all of these rows, like really jumped straight into it, and I even could fly the plane. So wow, yeah, it was quite a cool experience, and I think we're so used to the dirt and the ground that I think to be a plane, like being flying around wherever you want, I think is like a pretty cool idea to have in the head.
Is that something that you've always been into? You know, like to go from riding bikes, getting into hard enduro, that's quite an extreme sport. Like, what made you get into it in the first place?
Sure, over my dad. I got into the sport because at the end he used to be one of the best riders in hard enduro. But I more or less grew up with riding bikes, you know, like he always used to be this trials rider and hard enduro guy. And I got my first bike when I was 5. And from then on, I was actually motivated at the beginning because we had like a big farm back home with like a couple of horses. As a kid, you know, you just want to be outside, hang out around with your friends. And then one day of like training on the motorbike, I did like a rock, which was like 30 centimeter high, like more or less nothing, Becky. but it made me so excited to like push myself in the sport and like trying to get better at it. And after this, I was really like hyped up and like hooked into like riding dirt bikes. And yeah, a couple of years later, we're here, probably one of the best in the world, and talking about motorsport. So like pretty freaking excited.
No, it's super cool. I mean, you remember that first experience of complete...
Let's meet Kyoto. Hawaiian born and raised, he knows these lands like the back of his hand.
Thing.
He loves sharing the culture, history and beauty of Hawaii.
Maybe a
First journey to the east, between seafronts, mind-blowing mountains and wild waterfalls.
trail or something like that, and you were like, do you know what? This is what I'm born to do.
Not at all. I think
Okay.
I think so many riders and like so many people already as a kid have this like they ride and they're like, okay, one day I'm gonna be a professional dirt bike rider or whatever. But me, literally until I was 16, I thought I'm maybe gonna do completely something else. Maybe I'm gonna be working on constructions or like a carpenter or like whatever. And then I really more or less found the passion and to say, yeah, I want to do this when I finished Red Bull Brigadier back in like 2014, because I was one of the youngest finishers at this point, and for me was really like, okay, I could do something out of it. I could maybe be one of the best guys in the world. And then Red Bull came up to me and said, yeah, we're going to try to support you for a year. And first he went pretty good, became a Super Enduro Junior World Champion. And from then on, I was really like, okay, this could be a pretty cool living on like a pretty cool lifestyle, you know, like you more or less make your hobby to your job and you can just enjoy riding a dirt bike in the coolest, gnarliest terrain on earth.
I mean, I think that really explains your personality when I first met you. It's not a case of like, I knew what I was going to do. I was going to go do this. You were like, yeah, give it a go. I was pretty good at it. And now we're just still cracking on. And we're winning some championships. We're doing some perfect seasons. And for the listeners out there, the Erzberg rodeo that he's talking about, let me tell you, as a hobbyist enduro rider, that is the hardest enduro in the world. When I watch the videos of it, I'm like, that looks like pain. You must get like halfway through it and be like, why am I doing this?
I think most of the people, they don't even get halfway through. I think like hard enduro, for all of you guys who are listening to it, it's just like short explain, like it's riding a dirt bike through the gnarliest terrain what you can find. So like you have to imagine like rocks which are like 2 meters high, like uphills which are like more sometimes than like 80 degrees steep, downhills where you like have to more or less push your bike down because it's like too steep to like ride it down. Like the good thing is gravity always brings you down, so it's like pretty nice, but like in the uphills it's like pretty difficult. But yeah, like Red Bull Brigadier is one of the hardest races in the world, and there's like 2,000 starters. At the end is like 500 who is going into the finals, and I think like average like 15 people make it. 15 people make it into the finish after 4 hours. Everybody is like who is into motorsport should come to Red Bull Brigadier for one day, just even just to see this festival vibe, because it's pretty cool.
So let's talk about the sport as a whole. Let's break it down. Somebody that has never come across hard enduro before, tell me what the sport is in your words.
I think hard enduro is really riding a dirt bike through the gnarliest terrain. Like what we can find. Like it can be rocks, it can be like a dirt, it can be even like from dirt to asphalt, it can be like uphills, downhills. You have to think through the mountains. I would like really say like a really cool race or like a really good day of riding hard enduro would be go out and go behind your house, ride into the trees and see where you end up. You know, like I think this is more or less really being out there and like searching for the hardest part what you can find. Super in the morning sport, and it's quite nice in our sport because we have quite a lot of different race formats, so it's never the same at every race, which makes it a bit difficult maybe for the viewers and for the outside to understand sometimes, but for us as riders it's maybe not too bad, because we can have a race which can be 2 hours long, but can have also a race which can be 5 days long, where we wake up every day at like 4 in the morning and we go out there, ride 8 hours on the day, you know. I think that's quite hectic and has a bit of this rally race format what we have out there. And for example, like Daniel Sanders and Luciani already maybe talking about this, and it's quite interesting, but it's a pretty cool sport. And if all of the viewers out there who have never watched it, definitely check it out on Apple TV, because it's a pretty cool vibe and a pretty cool paddock and like some good characters.
And does the extremity of the terrain denote how long it is? So if something is really, really hard, would that be only a 2-hour race? Or if it was like maybe a little bit less extreme, it would be longer, like you said, an 8-hour day? Or is it all just really hard?
Maybe all just really hard. I think it's different hard, you know, like you can have a race which can be 8 hours long and is maybe hard, but because the track isn't too hard, but it's just long. But then you can have like a 2-hour race, which can be so difficult to ride, and you really have to push your bike, you have to like really fight like for every little centimeter, can you like move forward, and it can be also like super difficult and super hard on the body. I think that was sometimes hard enduro is also about, you know, like it's already in the discipline's name. Like it's not only enduro, it's like hard enduro, and that's why I think every kind of riding situation it makes it hard, and it's never easy to compete and to ride it.
So let's talk about how it's judged. Is it a case of first man who makes it over the line wins, or how is it judged?
Most of the time like this way. So we have like starts, like we take Repolers per review. It's like 500 people on the start line, and the flag drops, and they're all out, and first guy who's in the finish wins the day, or like wins the race. But then we have this rally format where we are more basically having like the fastest time every day. So you could start 10th, finishing 5th, but still be the fastest guy on the day, and you can win the day. So there's a bit of different formats out there, but more or less the fastest guy or the first guy in the finish, like in every race, is the fastest ride of the day, and the fastest ride of the day for sure wins the race as well. So it's more or less in every other sport, you know, you can be the fastest guy or like the fastest racer, and you win your competition. And, it's quite nice to have those formats.
Yeah, it's so different to drifting. I mean, that's a completely judged sport where it's speed, style, line and angle, and it's just so different. It's down to a judge saying whether they liked how you did something, whereas this, it's purely a case of if you can make it to the end, then you deserve your trophy.
Then you deserve your trophy. And like sometimes I'm getting a bit like, I'm watching some drifting, for example, and like, oh, that looks sick, you know, like that looks really sick. And then you see like the competitions, and you're like, I have no idea how they end up with this result, but probably he wins because you like made the sickest style and go the best speed. But it's quite interesting to see it from the outside, you know. I think for me as like a core racer, to have like this kind of different race form, or like race formats more or less. So there's like other disciplines or like other things where really.
I got a question for you guys, and buckle.
This is Rule the Streets. Rolling! Another activity awaits.
The podcast continues.
From the outside, you know.
We're not staying in Honolulu just yet. We'll be joining the donut team at the bottom of the mountain.
I think for me as like a core racer, to have like this kind of different race form, or like race formats more or less. There's like other disciplines or like other things where really decide who's going to be the winner of the day. I think it's super cool to see. Same.
They need you to conduct a special experiment before settling down in the city. I'm not gonna lie, James wants to start big here.
With like 3
I don't want to spoil the surprise, so I'll just give you one clue. The first question involves Italy at its finest.
like is same thing, speed, style, and like I'm not sure, swag or something like this.
Basically.
Basically, but.
Ferrari and Lamborghini have been... The Lamborghini machine, let's ride!
Hey, James here. I'm talking to you from this drone. Well, I'm not actually in the drone. That would defeat the entire purpose of a drone. That would be a helicopter. It will follow you the whole time and take some awesome shots for our videos. Not in a weird way. Anyway, have fun. Automobili Lamborghini versus Ferrari. Man, I am so pumped. Hey, no pressure, but these cars are like really expensive, so try not to crash and burn, okay? Dang, dude, what a viewpoint. It really makes you think. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned there's gonna be turns. Sorry. Bull versus Stallion. How we feeling about our choice down there? Not having second thoughts, are we? Bull Italian power. Give me the gravy, Grandma. Lamborghini takes it all. The Lamborghini machine rules the mountains.
podcast continues.
Decide who's going to be the winner of the day. I think it's super cool to see. Same thing with like freestyle motocross. Like it's same thing, speed, style, and like I'm not sure, swag or something like this. Basically, but it's pretty interesting. And at the end, the judges gonna make a pretty good job with this.
It's not like other disciplines in motorsport where you have to have a license or you have to have completed X amount of other races before you can compete at this level. I could literally rock up with my bike and give it a go, right?
Definitely. Like if you're keen and if you're excited enough to.